Well, I can't say I'm surprised. Another Paul George injury to his knee that will require surgery. Yet again, another injury to the Sixers, the team that was the most injured in the NBA last season. But this was always the risk when you signed a 34, 35-year-old Paul George to a max contract in free agency. Probably not the best idea when your best player is Joel Embiid, also a player who you knew was not going to be available that much. Probably went even worse than we could have ever imagined. At least last year, the pick that was owed to OKC was top 6 protected. They got some lottery luck. They jumped up to 3. They drafted VJ Edgecombe. This upcoming season, the Sixers' pick luck probably will not be as good. They still owe that pick to OKC. It is top 4 protected going into next year. And if you look at the roster right now, I've been thinking they've kind of been hedging their bets with this team in terms of Paul George's and Joel Embiid's availability. The only guys they've brought in from outside of the roster are younger players. Guys like Trendon Watford, who's 24, Dom Barlow, who's 21, Jabari Walker, who's 22. They are not signing veteran players because they're trying to get guys who are more available for next year. But they have a massive hole at that 4 spot, and this only makes it worse. I didn't want Paul George to play the 4 next year because I just didn't think that his body could physically take it. I feel like he had to play the 3 going into next year because he's not going to be someone you're going to want fighting on the glass. He's not going to be someone you want taking the bigs on the other team in certain matchups. He's not someone that you want to really, overextend because at this point in his career, he gets injured a ton. He's had a bunch of lower body injuries. And now he might not even be available for the start of training camp. I would imagine this might extend into the beginning of next season, at least, him recovering from this injury. And the only guys that currently are on the roster that can play the 4 are Janai Broome, who they just drafted in the 2nd round. I don't even know if he's an NBA player. Jabari Walker, who we talked about earlier, who's on a 2-way, so he has a limited amount of time that he can actually play on that contract. So it looks like Trendon Watford will probably be the starting 4 for this team. A player who has been a bench player for his entire career so far. When people say to me, just trade Paul George and Joel Embiid, this is why they can't do it, guys. They're not available. No one's taking a max contract for players who are not available anymore. You cannot do that in the modern NBA. We just saw Damian Lillard get bought out. We're seeing Bradley Beal in the middle of a buyout process right now. They're not going to be able to trade either of these guys. They have to ride out the next 3 years with Paul George's contract, next 4 years with Joel Embiid's contract. Maybe there's some sort of injury exception or clause that they can get out of certain money, or maybe they can dump it in 2 years from now when it's an expiring contract. But for better or worse, they're stuck with Joel Embiid and Paul George.